ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new and improved Holy Shoot Wrestling podcast. This week, we'll be hosting our very first Big Dogs, which is our version of the Slammy Awards. We will celebrate the very best of professional wrestling in 2019 by discussing our choices. Joining me on today's show is Sam and Chen. How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing very, very well. It's just been Christmas. It wasn't as shit as I thought. And so, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Also, Wrestle Kingdom was on Sunday and it was fucking awesome.
That was Sam, by the way, guys. And Chen, how are you?
First of all, Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, Happy New Year as well.
Yep, I'm doing good. I haven't actually caught up with Wrestle Kingdom yet, so I've mostly avoided spoilers, but other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good. So far, what is it? 7 days in to New Year's? Been good?
Yeah.
Yeah, only like an Australian bushfire and Donald Trump declaring World War III and
yeah, I mean
Brexit, and apart from that, you know, some great wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom I hear.
Yeah,
any
wrestling's been bloody great.
Any recommendations, Sam? No spoilers, just because I haven't seen it either yet.
No spoilers. Just watch Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi. They have put on what will be probably the best match of the year already. And we are 4 days in. It's incredible. Absolutely mental stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if Dave Meltzer will break his star rating system again. Anyway, gentlemen, I have something to ask. As you might be aware that I am the very sexy lad that I am. I'm on the dating scene. And, very sexy. And, I got a message earlier this week from a girl, and we were just talking about stuff. And one of the things was like, oh, so what are your hobbies? And one of the things I mentioned is doing this podcast. And which case she goes, oh, so the memes about podcasts and dating apps are true then? Do you know what this meme is?
What?
No.
Like boys memes podcasts, you know, like is it?
No, I know that. Well, my experience has been lots of people have like their profile is like I live in London. Also, I fucking love podcasts. Here's a huge list of all the podcasts I like.
Yeah,
but I've never seen anyone being like I do a podcast as a hobby as like a regular thing. Everyone likes hiking and travel, man.
Yeah. No, that is actually true. That is actually true. But it's kind of weird because, yeah, as you said, like everyone puts down, I love podcasts. And I was like, yeah, I host a podcast. And they get really excited, right? It's like,
yeah, that's the idea.
Like it's the rock band of today. It's like, ooh, you're smart. And then I tell them it's professional wrestling and they go, oh.
Yeah.
Half the time it's like, well, you know what, that's still fucking cool that you do a podcast. And the other half of the time they're just like, oh, don't ask me to listen. And I'm like, I wasn't going to ask you to anyway. Like, you know, I'm not going to enforce a hobby down your throat. Like, we haven't even met yet.
Yeah, bit much. Or do they think you're on the dating app to like promote the podcast?
Well, little insight knowledge that I got from Spotify, 95% of the users are male. So I'm basically, you know, hitting the right target audience by going for 5% female audience and just hoping to, you know, hit on the odd one on the odd Tinder.
You're trying to broaden our listener base so that we appeal to both genders.
Look, I want to increase. We have more listeners from California than there are actually women listeners.
I mean,
how depressing is that?
The thing is as we know, as Jason's book, Women Love Wrestling, coming to you bookshops soon. I fucked that plug up really bad. I was going to make a joke about how Jason's book title is Women Love Wrestling and then say available in shops near you. But all the words just came out in the wrong order. So, listener, what I'd like you to do is make the correct joke in your head and then laugh appropriately.
Sorry, I was laughing at Sam's joke. Yeah.
Also, Brod.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Just say this: you're on Spotify. I think that will help in the dating scene.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to comment because I did tell this girl that I will send her the link to this podcast afterwards about the joke I made. Sorry, Emily.
He's a monster, Emily. Stay away from him.
Yeah, I'm so single for a
He has
reason.
dead cats under his bed. None of these things are true. I'm lying. Brod's a great guy and has no dead animals anywhere, taxidermied or otherwise.
I live above a Thai restaurant that has taxidermy animals as its decor.
Oh, that's appealing. That's what you want when you're eating
No.
some nice Thai food.
I know, it's just like, do you want a pad Thai? No, there's a stuffed fox right there. It's so bizarre. Like,
Think
what
of a
kind of...
vegetarian, yeah.
I had to go in there once to retrieve my old phone. Just, ugh. It was just like, am I in a zoo? Am I eating Thai food? Or am I fetching my phone? I do not know. Yeah, it was just...
It's the
It's just
perils of the wilds of
just,
Hammersmith.
yeah, and also, you know, I mean, pronouncing Broderick is hard enough for those who speak English fluently. God help everyone else that doesn't. That's all I can say. It took 5 minutes to retrieve my phone. It's just like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's my name. That's my name. And like,
countries where they don't have much difference between R and L in their language. That must be interesting. Yeah.
No, I just mean in general. It's just like, why couldn't I be called? Why couldn't I be called Dave? You know,
Sam.
Yeah,
I've got two friends who have interesting, like, weird first names, and when they go to coffee shops and order takeaways, they just use Sam because it's way easier. Nobody gets it wrong.
Yeah, I tend to use celebrity names or character names. I nearly went to Starbucks recently and said Jeffrey Epstein, but I thought probably not. Anyway. Anyway, so let's get to it. The big dogs! So how this will work is I will reveal the 5 nominees. In some cases, it will be more than 5 for each award, and then we'll have a quick discussion on each category before revealing the results. The 5 or more nominees were ranked on a points-based system, polling all 6 regular members of the podcast, including us 3 today, as well as Jason, Mike, and Chris. So there is some mathematics and statistics behind my madness. So, gentlemen, let's kick things off with Match of the Year, and the nominees are Cody versus Dustin Rhodes at AEW Double or Nothing. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver New York. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned match at AEW Full Gear. Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii from New Japan G1 Climax Day 6. And Volta versus Tyler Bate for the UK Championship at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. What do you think of the nominees, gentlemen?
I mean, yeah, that's all the good matches that happened this year.
All 5 good matches.
All 5 of them. No, there was definitely more than 5 good matches. It was actually really hard. This one being the in-ring worker, and I followed the G1 extremely closely, so it was very hard for me to not just be like, I don't know, Tai Chi versus Jon Moxley, G1 Day 3 or whatever. There's so many good matches, so I just had to pick one for my list, and that was obviously Moxley versus Ishii. That was my personal match of the year anyway.
Yeah, there was a few G1 nominations throughout. There's quite a few New Japan nominations, which is quite refreshing. But you know, and surprising a lack of AEW nominations as well, which I guess with only a few shows under the belt, it's not that surprising. But Chen, what was your favorite match of the year?
Looking at the card, my surprise match of the year that I thought was going to be like a dead match and I had no interest in, but was really, really amazing, was Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. But my favorite match of the year was Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in the unsanctioned match at Full Gear. Yeah.
Really? So why do you think Moxley versus Omega?
I think it's, well, one, it was just like, oh, you know, Jon Moxley was still kind of new to coming out of his WWE contract, and it was just like, in my mind, a dream match. Like, oh, a top guy of WWE at the time versus a top guy in the independents or New Japan, and that finally happened, and it happened in like an amazing, crazy, brutal match.
Yeah, Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, like, I absolutely adored John Moxley versus Kenny Omega. I know it put some people off, like, with the amount of violence, and there was a couple of things that were a little OTT, like the mousetrap thing. But apart
The
from
barbed
that,
wire trampoline.
I don't mind the barbed wire trampoline.
Listen,
Like,
listen. I'm
yeah.
all for gore and blood. As long
Mm,
as they both willingly sign their life away, then I'm all for it. If it was against their will, then obviously it's not great. But they signed up for this. They put on a great match, and I feel like one thing about John Moxley, he can be himself since he went independent.
yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree, and we'll probably touch more on John Moxley later in the show. Sam, your favourite match was a John Moxley match, and I believe it was the other match in this nominated list.
Yes, John Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii, which was the G1 Climax Day 6, one of the B blocks. It was just a regular tournament match. For people who don't know, the G1 is like a 21-day long wrestling kind of league format tournament. So it's like loads of matches from loads of top guys. Tomohiro Ishii always puts in a stunning performance. He's an incredible and massively underrated wrestler, I think. And then John Moxley is obviously John Moxley, as we were previously discussing. He's great. So this one had it all. It had, going to the outside, people going through tables. Tomohiro Ishii hit a frog splash off of the apron to the outside, which is he just lariats people. He's not really like a top rope kind of guy. So it had surprises as well.
Yeah.
It was a great wrestling match. I thought it was going to be good, and it was better than that.
Yeah, when I saw
Better
this,
than I was expecting.
when I saw this on the card, I was like, "Yes, please! This is like two hard-ass bastards wanting to fight each other, and lovers of violence and hard-hitting and strong style, hardcore wrestling." I mean, yeah, this was in my top 5 of the year as well. That's how much I really enjoyed that match, and I don't watch that much G1 in comparison to say you and Mike. My favorite match of the year. It's a bit of personal bias because I was there at the event, NXT TakeOver New York. But Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls to the NXT Championship. It's more of a personal thing for me, but I literally have never marked out so much in my life at a match at a live event. I would it be number one if I wasn't there? I don't know. Jason, for the record, he was there and he put it as his 10th favorite match of the year. So there's a bit of insight. So maybe I'm showing a little bit of bias, but it was a tremendous match.
I mean, yeah. I can't actually remember watching it. That show was good, but so for you, it was like a proper people asking you if you were ill for the week afterwards because you were screaming so much kind of deal.
Funny enough, I watched more wrestling the following morning, and that was like an hour-long subway journey. So it was like not too ill, but yeah, literally, I was just up and down off my seat, just like thinking who is going to leave with the title. And I also had a bet on it with one of my friends. I said Adam Cole would win. He said Johnny Gargano, and obviously I lost. But I couldn't be more pleased to lose as Gargano has been one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT. Let's talk about Cody versus Dustin, Walter versus Tyler Bate briefly before revealing the winner. Cody versus Dustin, on average, was probably like across the board most loved between us. What do you think that is, Chen?
Well, one, like, Dustin, you expect him to be at his end of his career, not to put in a good performance, because everyone's associated with him with the Goldust character, like a comedy character. So when they did the whole brother versus brother angle, I think people were just like, "Oh, this is just a retirement match for Dustin. It's not going to be anything special. It's probably going to be the toilet break for that pay-per-view." But my God, was I so wrong? Like, just the psychology alone in that match was amazing. And Dustin can still go. That's the funny thing. Like, he can still really, really wrestle. He was just as good as his brother in that match.
I think both brothers put on a phenomenal show. I think the reason why I downmarked it on my top 10 list, it was just like the absolute ending where they embraced. I wasn't a fan of that considering the bloodbath that just ensued. I think it could have been saved for reunion at Fighter Fest, maybe. I don't know. That was the only down bit to me, but as a match itself, it was absolutely terrific.
See, I think we talked about that bit on a previous podcast, and
Yeah.
I think I would say what I said at the time, which is I think that for me worked. That's why I put it so high up my list, because all the emotion of that got to me. If you are a brother or you have a brother, you've had a fight with him that has been probably close to cutting him or killing him in some way. That's just how you grow up. And you can go from like I'm going to kill you to like hugging it out and crying in seconds when it's your family, I think. So it made sense to me.
Absolutely. And lastly, let's just talk Volta versus Tyler Bate. Is this the best David versus Goliath match that we've seen like in the past decade or so? Because I can't think of anything better in terms of big man versus small man in a long, long time.
No, indeed. I think they had this match at the Progress Wembley show the year before, and this was like the perfect version of that match. Volta he's like Okada, right? He doesn't do big, complicated stuff, but everything he does looks absolutely vicious. And Tyler Bate is an absolute beast in the ring as well. So yeah, together this was like fireworks.
Cool. So I'm just gonna announce him a ranking from 5th to 1st. Basically, I'll announce the points with it as well. Each nomination, top nomination from each person got 10 points. Their lowest nomination got 1 point. So we all did a top 10, and here's we just added up the points, and the winner has the most points. So obviously, with 17 points at 5th place was Moxie versus Ishii. With 24 points in 4th place was Moxie versus Omega. In 3rd place with 26 points was Volta versus Tyler Bates. And there's only 1 point in between the top two. Cody versus Dustin got 37. But the winner is Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole with 38 points. Gargano versus Cole is the winner. Just for context, me and Chris gave it our top match. Sam, you obviously had Moxie versus Ishii, and Chen, Moxie versus Omega. Mike gave the women's War Game match 10 points, the only nomination for that match, and Jason gave Cody versus Dustin the full 10 points. So there you go. Let's move on to In-Ring Worker. And the nominations are Adam Cole, Cody, Daniel Bryan, Johnny Gargano, Kazuchika Okada, Pete Dunne, and Will Ospreay. Chen, who did you vote for as your top superstar of the year?
I put Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, and Sam?
I had Okada down as my top in-ring worker.
You see, this is amazing. Within this top 7, there's 6 different votes at the top, so it's quite interesting. Let's start with the one that didn't, but is in a very good chance, and that's Cody. A lot of love for Cody Rhodes, but didn't get 10 points. What do you think that is, Sam?
I think because this is the in-ring worker award. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, so he's not particularly flashy or anything, but like he tells an incredible story. So I think sometimes his like actual move execution can be a bit sloppy, or he misses marks. He's not like he's not Ricochet, but like in terms of storytelling, there's probably nobody better in getting you to feel emotion during his matches, you know.
Ooh, that's debatable. Let's flip that over to Chen. Do you think Daniel Bryan's better at showing emotion, or Johnny Gargano, which is my top pick?
I think, Bryan is. And I think the only reason I would put it down to is more years in wrestling business than Gargano.
Yeah.
And working the WWE system as well.
Very interesting. So, what do you think about that, Sam? Which one do you think is better, Gargano or Bryan? Just in terms of like in a storytelling in-ring aspect.
So I'm not sure if I'm the best person to ask this question because I think we've discussed on the podcast before. Johnny Gargano is someone who I understand why people enjoy him, but because I personally don't follow NXT really at all, apart from the big shows, I am not as invested in him or the stories he tells as most other people. So I can
Shame.
see where other people see that, but I don't see
Shame.
it myself. Yeah.
Shame.
Whereas, Daniel Bryan is and always has been incredible in any promotion that he's wrestled in.
Yeah, I mean Daniel Bryan is fantastic. I mean, all 7 men in this list are absolutely fantastic. But let's touch upon your top pick, Kazuchika Okada. Why did you give him 10 points, Sam?
He's the greatest IWGP heavyweight champion of all time. Okada is a man who is so good in the ring that one of his signature moves is a fucking drop kick. And when he hits it, the crowd goes mad. That's like... To be able to execute such a simple move so perfectly speaks volumes to his storytelling ability. Also, he's defended the title I think 20 odd times now, but if you watch those matches back, there are moments in those matches where you still believe that the other person could win the match. When we saw him versus Minoru Suzuki at Royal Quest, everyone knew that match really was just like a marquee that had been put on for the British fans because Suzuki's quite popular over here. But then during the match, there were moments where the whole crowd were on their feet believing that Okada could actually lose the belt. This could be the one. Suzuki could do it. That speaks to his skill telling a story over the course of a match. I don't think there's anyone that does that better in the world.
Yeah. And speaking of New Japan, let's talk about Will Ospreay briefly. He's had a terrific year.
Yeah, I had him as my number 2 as well. I think he's going to eclipse Okada when as he grows into his career, does more heavyweight stuff.
Yeah, I agree. The Best of Super Juniors is great. His G1 performance, like some of his stuff in there was also very, very good. So we definitely look forward to seeing more Will Ospreay. He always tries to steal the show at Wrestle Kingdom as well, which I'm very appreciative for. Let's talk a bit about NXT, Chen. Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. Talk about their greatness. How highly do you rate Adam Cole as an in-ring worker?
I rate him very, very highly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been following him probably like 2 years before he joined NXT. Obviously, with the whole being the Elite Click thing going on that he was part of.
Yeah.
And I always knew this guy was going to be a big star and everything like that. And he has a great faction to go with him with the Undisputed Era. And who was the other wrestler? Sorry,
Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. I'm much more of a bigger fan than Pete Dunne than Adam Cole. I think maybe just because I'm from the UK, I'm just being a bit more biased. But I understand that star power wise, Adam Cole is the bigger fish for NXT.
I think Adam Cole's had a terrific year, as with Johnny Gargano, like breaking the Meltzer star rating for the first time, which is impressive for any superstar in the WWE promotion, even on NXT. 5.5 stars for Takeover New York and 5.25 for Takeover 25. Both well deserved. Excellent trilogy of matches. So that's why they were highly rated by me as well. So do you guys have anything additional to say?
I'd just like to give an honourable mention to Jay White. I know you guys probably don't watch New Japan as much as me, so you won't like he is to you what Johnny Gargano is to me. I think in that you don't follow it, so you're not as invested in the things.
I mean, I do love Jay White. I
think he's improved a lot. I mean, there's so many great in-ring workers. It's very. I mean, for instance, I don't have Daniel Bryan in my top 10. So that's how great. I mean, there's. I think there's 29 between us for this category. That's how diverse a list that we came up with between us. So but Jay White was in there, and he's up and coming, and I think he's got a terrific. I mean, his matches have been great.
I don't even know if it's fair to call him up and coming anymore. He's been heavyweight champion and IC champion about 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just I don't see him as a main eventer, but that we'll leave that for a later discussion. So
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
The reason, can I just say, the reason I put Daniel Bryan as my in-ring worker,
Yeah.
is because we got to see both sides of Daniel being a face and a heel this year.
Yeah, I think
So
that
different psychology in the ring.
yeah,
Demonstrated by him.
yeah, it's just I don't disagree. I think he's had some terrific matches this year. It's just with all the talent, it's just hard to. This one was very difficult to whittle down to 10.
So many good wrestlers.
So many good wrestlers. Like the in-ring work gets more and more phenomenal each year. So, without further ado, in joint 5th position was Pete Dunne and Daniel Bryan with 15 points. In 4th place was Cody with 24 points. In 3rd place was Adam Cole with 26 points. In 2nd place was Kazuchika Okada with 34 points. And in joint 1st, we have a joint winner.
Wow.
Johnny Gargano and Will Ospreay with 35 points.
Boy, now there's a match I want to see.
So Will Ospreay got. I screwed up earlier. I said there were 6 different 10-point nominations. Will Ospreay got 2 10-point nominations. I gave 10 points to Johnny Gargano. Mike gave 10 points to Adam Cole. So that's where the 10 points all lie. So yeah, Johnny Gargano and Will Ospreay, joint in-ring worker winners. Both well deserved.
They'll never meet in the ring. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
With enough money, it's possible. So let's move on to Mike Worker, shall we? Only 5 nominations here: Becky Lynch, Bray Wyatt, Chris Jericho, Cody, and MJF, aka Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Let's start with you, Sam. You gave 10 points to MJF, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think MJF on the mic is like Okada in the ring, right? You know he's going to be a slimy shit. And you're kind of expecting it. It's like, come on, say something horrible. And then he says something and you actually do find yourself thinking, you're a real fucking prick. I actually hate you. Like, he even though you know that he's playing a character, he sticks to it perfectly. He's just fantastic on the mic. And if you haven't seen the documentary about his like backstory that's on YouTube, I think we've mentioned it before. Go and look it up. Just put MJF documentary into YouTube.
Oh my goodness, it's so
incredible.
Good. Yeah, I mean, MJF is like EC3 evolved. He does everything that EC3 did in Impact, but with the stuff that he does documentary, his touring, when he does like Starcast, like you have to pay the most and you're not allowed to touch him. I just think he's an absolute genius of mic work, promo work, and character work that he deserves to be recognized. Chen, you gave 10 points to Chris Jericho.
Yeah, for me, it was a very hard choice. It was either between Chris Jericho or Becky. But I went with Jericho because, he's the first AEW champion. Anything he seems to say, it just seems to be like very, very trending online.
Yeah.
And so, for example, a little bit of the bubbly. Like anything he says that come out of his mouth is always pure gold, and you're always going to remember it.
Yeah, he's a catchphrase machine.
Little bit of the bubbly, Le Champion.
He's just made the list. Drink it in, man.
Like just everything he does is like gold. There's no he is. Could we argue that Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time?
I mean, I think he would definitely argue that he was the greatest of all time. In fact, didn't he have that as a gimmick when he was in New Japan? That was what he was trying to put over.
I think he's been trying to be putting that over for years. Since Best in the World of What I Do. But I mean, he's approaching that level. Chen, let's also touch upon Becky Lynch, the only female nominee in the mic worker category. She's had a terrific year. But do you think her mic work's gone downhill slightly over the past year? And is that why you only gave her 9 instead of 10 points?
I mean, so one of the things is like I can't exactly remember. I would enjoy Becky's promos when I watch them,
Mm.
but like a week later, I'll forget what she's talking about, or 2 weeks later. And the thing is, as well, it's like you said. I feel like her promos have been toned down a bit, like in the last few months. Whereas
Mm.
when it was WrestleMania season, she was just on fire and fire and fire. Like I was just watching her promo again with John Cena earlier on today, and just thinking how great she was.
Oh, that promo was so
Yeah.
brilliant.
But
That,
I missed that from
I
her.
wish
yeah.
I'd put her higher up my list. Actually, that I was going to say when you mentioned her, I put her fairly low down, and that was wrong. I'd completely forgotten about the fact that women's triple threat main event in WrestleMania this year somehow, and that segment where they got into the backstage brawl, they put them in the back of the cop car, and then she's
Yeah.
like kicking Ronda Rousey in the face and shouting "Kiss my foot, you little weirdo" at her. Top quality stuff. I forgot all
Yeah.
about that. I wish I'd put her higher.
I think the Lacey Evans thing affected her, and the boyfriend thing affected her. But I think she got some of her mojo back recently with the likes of working with Asuka and Sasha Banks. You know, I think.
Well, what you mean? Bad booking killed an otherwise on fire character in the WWE.
I know,
God.
right? And
I
it's just
know.
like it was just like Daniel Bryan feuding with Kane after Mania. It's like, oh my god!
Jesus.
Like I've never seen so much love for a wrestler when I went to New York. Like just, I mean, Kofi Mania was huge, but the love for Becky was even bigger. It was insane. And to think like the beginning of 2018, she was a nobody. She was almost like a nobody at that point. To like now, it's incredible. So kudos to her. Let's talk Bray Wyatt. Because
Yeah. So this
because
was an
he
interesting
received two 10-point nominations, including one from yours truly. It's a close one between him and Chris Jericho, in my opinion. But yeah, what were you going to say, Sam?
I was just going to say it's an interesting one because, like the mic working or the definition of mic worker, I think on the mic, like in ring promos from Bray Wyatt, they've been all right.
Yeah,
But the what really has put him to the top, he was third for me, is the Firefly Funhouse. Like there's nothing else like it in wrestling. He's absolutely smashed it out of the park.
I think it's the only like video like the video like promos that they do that they show live to the audience that really that really got over in recent years. Like you can hear the reactions like from fans inside arenas just whenever he's doing something like freaky. Yeah, but Firefly
Yeah.
Funhouse is one of the most inventive bits of promo work I have seen in a long time.
Mate, when I went to Raw at MSG,
Yeah.
I was coming back from the toilet when the Firefly Funhouse jingle started, and people were running. Like, people were leaving their beers at the concession stands and running back into the arena because they didn't want to miss it. And most of the time, it was just like, coming up later, it's the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, I did
I
that
was running as well.
I did that for the Undertaker, the Barclays Center, but Bray Wyatt, I think I just like pissed myself rather than just even chance it.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Oh man, you got to see it at Madison Square Garden. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, lucky guy.
Yeah, it was good.
But the reason
just
I
MSG
didn't,
and wrestling, man. Yeah,
the
sorry.
reason I didn't put Bray high enough in my list is because I still believe, like you said, mic worker. I feel like you still need to be in the ring and with the audience, because it's easy to cut a promo when you're behind a video camera and being in
Yeah,
front of thousands of people.
yeah, I think that's fair, and I think next year we'll probably just change it because there was a bit of confusion internally about whether it's just mic work or whether it should be promo, and I think that's resulted in some superstars being rated higher and some being rated lower. So I think next year we'll expand that to promo work. But yeah, I can't disagree with the criticisms that both you and Sam have made. So let's go into the top 5 then. At 5th place with 31 points, Becky Lynch. 4th place with 36 points is Cody. And 3rd place with 37 points is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. 2nd place is Bray Wyatt with 42 points. And the winner is Le Champion. He is Le Champion of this category, Chris Jericho, who once tweeted this podcast. Actually, twice tweeted this podcast.
Yeah,
So,
because you
so
kept on
no
trying to get
bias.
the stakes.
Yeah, I really wanted some Omaha steaks, but they don't deliver outside North America. God damn it! Goddamn food regulations. Once we leave the European Union, the only benefit I'll get is hopefully some Omaha steaks.
Omaha steaks and chlorinated chicken. Anyway.
Anyway, just for the record, Chen, you gave Jericho 10 points. Sam, you gave MJF 10 points. Chris also gave MJF 10 points. Me and Mike gave Bray Wyatt 10 points. And Jason gave 10 points to David Starr. So an honorable mention for the King of the Indies.
Oh yeah, he is very good on the mic. I just hadn't seen him. I haven't seen him do a promo this year, basically.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot. But yeah, he is very good on the mic. I've seen him a couple of times, and he does get the crowd worked up. So anyway, let's move on to comeback of the year, and the nominations are Bray Wyatt, Dakota Kai, Jon Moxley, Roman Reigns, and Tommaso Ciampa. This is a very interesting one because there's a bit of a bit difficult with one returning from cancer, one returning from severe neck injury, one returning from knee injury, and yet we have two different character changes. Let's start with the character changes. Sam, you gave 10 points to Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, for me, he's been the breakout star. When he was in WWE, he was someone I wanted to like because I liked his attitude, but his character was so fucking lame. He came out and cut a promo about wanting breakfast for dinner, and I just thought, you're an idiot, mate.
When did you, because you had a long gap, when did you get back into WWE?
So it was after the Shield had split up. The first, so I think it was 2015 Rumble was really when I started watching it properly again.
Oh, man. See, I loved Dean Ambrose in 2015, up until about 2016, but they should have put the WWE Championship on him instead of Roman, who deserves it now, and Seth Rollins, who I've never been convinced by as a main eventer. Dean Ambrose, I thought, was the guy, and yeah, I completely agree with his stuff now as Jon Moxley in AEW and New Japan. He is one of the fucking coolest people in professional wrestling.
Oi, mate. When you hear if you're watching a New Japan show and you hear the motorbike go off, everyone goes nuts. Even the Japanese fans are standing up to try and see where he's coming in, and that's a big deal. If you can get Japanese fans to get off their asses and onto their feet.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he was in New Japan full time. No offense to AEW, but his stuff in New Japan this year has been far more awesome. From G1 to the United States Championship run to stuff with Shota, Death Rider Jon Moxley is just one of the coolest characters. The other comeback of sorts, but it's more of a character change, is The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Jason and Mike gave this 10 points. What do you think of the complete shift in The Fiend? Bray Wyatt. Chen, I'll start with you.
Okay, so obviously there's two sides to Bray Wyatt, like his Firefly Funhouse bit, and then obviously how he comes into the ring. He's still being the same character in a way with the mask and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I just think promo wise, obviously Bray hasn't completely changed, which is good. It's one of the best things, probably is the best thing in WWE right now. But his actual wrestling ability is still the same to me. It's not like there's no different moves apart from his finisher.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, actually. Like when he re-debuted, was it Hell in a Cell where they had the red Hell in a Cell match?
Yeah.
Or was that SummerSlam? You can never tell when a Hell in a Cell match is anymore. Anyway, that match.
Hell in a Cell is at Hell in a Cell.
but then also it's sometimes at WrestleMania, or it's also as apparently at SummerSlam. But yeah,
the SummerSlam was his debut match as the Fiend against.
Yeah, because he took out Finn Balor.
Yeah.
What was the Hell in a Cell? Oh, was that
Seth
a match?
Rollins.
Yeah. That was at Hell in a Cell. Okay,
yeah.
It's confusing. Stop having pay-per-views named after stipulations, WWE. Anyway, moving on. I think everyone was expecting him to have much more of a brutal moveset, which he kind of did, but only because he was no-selling stuff. He didn't debut any new signatures or anything like that, which I guess I felt a bit disappointed by. But everything else kind of made up for it.
The mandible claw?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot he does the mandible claw now.
Finisher, apart from that.
Yeah, I get I get you. I get you. Like he wasn't that high on my list either. Let's talk
Should
about.
I give you another example? It's like
Mhm.
Kevin Owens coming back, but he just adds a new finisher, which is the stunner. That's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot Kevin Owens came back.
Yeah.
I was like, someone nominated Kevin Owens. It was you, Chen, who nominated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
He
Anyway,
came back as that super babyface and cut that absolutely killer promo, and then nothing happened.
I don't know. He's not even nominated.
Yeah.
The two like major NXT injuries was Tommaso Ciampa, Dakota Kai, which happened earlier this year. Ciampa, it cutting short the rivalry Johnny Gargano, but coming back as a face, and Dakota Kai coming back as a face, operating as a tag team with Tegan Nox and then turning heel at War Games. Do any of you want to touch base briefly on these returns?
I mean, yeah, it was so sad when Champa got taken out.
Yeah.
Because his feud with Gargano was so hot and everything like that. It could have carried on and everything, and then to put everything on a halt. And once you put something on a halt, like a storyline, it's hard to revisit a couple of months down the line, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So it's good that he came back, not as a heel, but as a face.
Yeah, I think he turned face at the end of Takeover New York when he
Yeah.
embraced Gargano. It's kind of a. It wasn't like there's not much that he can do, but yeah, it's great to see his comeback videos. It's very cool. On his journey to come on. I'm screwing up, gentlemen. On his journey to coming back to NXT, I'll just briefly talk about Dakota Kai. I mean, first major knee injury I think in her career. But to come back, she was really over as a face, and then to turn heel like that, it's pretty impressive comeback. So yeah, just that's some thoughts on Dakota Kai. Last but not least, Roman Reigns coming back from leukemia. I think we can all agree that he's an absolute hero.
I mean, yeah, for beating cancer, but like, I kind of actually forgot that was this year. But I think
Wow.
that's the WWE booking rather than. Well, I mean, yeah.
No,
lots of
no.
reasons.
You know why you forgot? It's because he's not a main eventer now, Roman Reigns. If you think about it,
Yeah, he's main event of SmackDown.
yeah, but he's not like going for the title or anything like
That's
that.
because they're saving it to Mania.
Oh,
He'll beat the Fiend.
Oh yeah, he's gonna hit the feet. Let's not even. Let's move on. Let's not get onto this.
All right.
But
So-
coming back from cancer is badass. You know?
Yeah.
In
Not
the
to
short
take
space
anything
that he
away
did
from
it, in the short space of time he did it as well. So yeah, here's the top five: Dakota Kai with 20 points, John Moxley with 23 points, Tommaso Ciampa with 33 points. Second place, Roman Reigns with 45 points, and in top position, Bray Wyatt 53 points. Because we decided that a character change was better than beating cancer, apparently.
I mean,
You did. That does not include
look,
me.
I mean,
from the wrestling perspective,
real life, dude. You're the one who let the team down, Sam.
Listen, if Roman Reigns had beat cancer and then come back as like a satanic possessed children's TV show host, then I would have put him at the top of my list. But he didn't. He only beat cancer.
Yes,
so he gets to go in at number lower down in the list.
But how often does Bray Wyatt wrestle though?
I thought you were going to say, how often does Bray Wyatt beat cancer then?
Right, I'm just going to shut down this conversation before we
Yeah,
get to
let's move on.
Yeah, so Jason and Mike gave 10 points to Bray Wyatt. Chen, myself, and Chris gave 10 points to Roman Reigns. And Sam, you gave 10 points to John Moxley.
Yes.
So that's how that broke down in terms of top nominations. I'll tell you what we'll do, gentlemen. I think I'll put this into a nicer Google Doc and upload it to our Twitter feed and Facebook to see, so everyone can see our nominations, essentially. So, one to watch. This is just basically a future kind of award. Those that have increased their value in stock in the past year. Nominees are Darby Allin, Jay White, Keith Lee, MJF, and Rhea Ripley. I am going to start with you, Sam. You've picked MJF.
I did as number one for the one to watch, mate. He's the future face of AEW, no doubt. That man is going to be like Chris Jericho big, and he's probably going to start a better band than Chris Jericho has as well. So yeah, he gets my 10 points.
Wow.
I'm just using an opportunity to throw some shade at Fozzy because I can't stand them.
You absolute Judas. Boom, references. The other AEW star nominated was, of course, Darby Allin. Chen, what do you think of young Darby? Whoa! First controversial take. Sam, do you second Chen's Met opinion?
No, I know I don't know. I think, he's got a long way to go, but this isn't the wrestler of the year. This is, the one to watch going forward.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll. I think he'll be big in 2-3 years, not this year.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas MJF, you got a great point.
I thought
this was just like going forward into the future rather than in the next 12 months.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like, I think it's basically forecasting their stock and seeing if it will continue to rise. I think Darby Allin has the potential. Darby Allin has the potential to be AEW's Jeff Hardy. Would you agree with that statement, Chen?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%.
But look how long it took Jeff Hardy to become like a solo main event.
True, and I think that's partly down to his own issues, or else I think they would have probably made a main eventer in 2004, where they were struggling for main eventers. If he didn't go up to, I think he was TNA at the time. But we could go into the history of Jeff Hardy podcast.
That's another advantage to Darby Allin is that'll never happen to him because he's straight edge.
Ooh,
is he?
Darby Allin versus CM Punk dream match.
Completely straight edge.
Yeah, interesting.
Right. Okay.
One thing that you can agree on though is Jay White. He is a one to look out for, right?
Yeah, for sure. He's pushed into the top spot by all of the elite leaving New Japan at the end of last year, and I think he's just shown actually at the beginning of the year people were like he's been pushed too early, too soon, and at the end of the year I don't think there's anyone who would take away from him the fact that he was in 2 of the biggest matches of Wrestle Kingdom weekend.
Yeah, and Chen, do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I think I get why people say he was pushed too early, but like I also understand he had to be because they lost the Young Bucks as a New Japan, Kenny Omega, and to be fair, Jay White has stepped up. Like even if there were people that hated him, he's won them over.
Yeah,
and he's still winning people over.
Yeah, he absolutely is. So let's talk briefly about the 2 NXT stars on the list. Let's talk about Keith Lee first and foremost. This was Jason's top pick. Sam, you didn't put him down. Do you not bask in his glory?
So I actually kind of forgot a little bit about Keith Lee. I tried not to put too many NXT people into my top 10 because I thought I don't actually watch it that closely. But I do agree that Keith Lee is an incredible wrestler.
That's stuff with Roman Reigns at Survivor Series.
What? Wait, what's... yeah, sure. I don't think I watched Survivor Series, to be fair. Or if I did, I was too pissed at Belushi's and I don't remember it.
Yeah, join us at the Royal Rumble meetup at Belushi's.
You can see me get too pissed to remember. No, I love the Rumble.
Yeah, that's probably the only event that I'll ever stay sober for. But yeah, I think Keith Lee's absolutely terrific. He came close to topping my list. He's consistently improved over the year, and it's proof that the NXT developmental system does improve like people's performance in terms of mic work and promos and characters, which coming into 2019 he was a bit bland, and now he's been absolutely terrific.
He's a great wrestler to show people gifs of. All those gifs of him just like brutally chucking someone miles and miles away. Or the
Adam Cole one.
The shoulder tackles. Yeah. There's one where someone gets hoofed into the air and then he just smashes them out the ring. Was that from this year? Because that was incredible.
I can't remember. I know the Adam Cole over the barricade one was hilarious.
Yeah, also crowd. Very good.
There's also the one where he sneaks up and like just grimaces at Finn Balor. That's a new one that's popped up recently. He is a very giftable man. And last but not least, one that's been ranked the most times in second place, Rhea Ripley. What do we think of the new NXT Women's Champion?
It's
I
a
think she's
shame
bad.
she said those racist things on Twitch, but apart from that, she's doing really well.
Oh, this is news to me. I don't know about this.
Oh yeah, that was before she became big, right? Or was it recently?
Yeah, well, I think it was in the last year. I don't know if it was racist, to be fair. She said some stupid stuff on social media, and then she kind of tweeted a non-apology. But this isn't really about whether or not you're a good person, I suppose. It's more about whether you're going to be good at wrestling. And
Well, you ranked her pretty high, Sam. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's no question that she is extremely good at wrestling, and she's only going to get better.
Yeah, my top pick was actually Randy Orton. You know,
Fuck off.
I'm joking. For reference, though, there's one absolute piss taker that did put Nicholas down. So
Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, how did I know?
Fuck you, Mike.
He loves Nicholas.
I mean, if Nicholas turns out to be like the youngest WWE champion, we're all going to look like dicks, you know. You know. But yeah, Rhea Ripley, absolutely fantastic. Like, compared to where she was at the beginning of the year, she's now like one of the top women's wrestlers in NXT. Like, she wasn't that good in the ring, but it's so crazy that 12 months ago, this podcast tweeted out, I think it was me, it might have been Jason, tweeted out Rhea Ripley was the NXT Future Star Award winner. And boom, look where she is now. Holy shoot predicts the future. You know, she's in the top 5. But does she win?
We're Nostradamus.
Actually, yeah, she liked that tweet. That's why I remember it. So, yeah, our first interaction with a WWE superstar. Love it. Anyway, so let's get down to the top 5 then. 5th place was Jay White with 19 points. 4th place with 24 points was Darby Allin. 3rd place, I'm surprised by this, with 28 points, Keith Lee. And there's only 1 point in between the top 2. MJF gets 44, but Rhea Ripley wins the award with 45 points. For the record, I voted Rhea Ripley as my top superstar. Sam and Chris gave MJF 10 points. Jason gave Keith Lee 10 points. Mike gave 10 points to Darby Allin. And Chen, 10 points to the Velveteen Dream. So, do you want to briefly touch upon that before we move on to best entrance, Chen?
No, let's just move on. He didn't make it the top 5, so there's no point.
Yeah, you were the only point to give him any points as well, just for the record. So, entrance, best entrance. And the nominees are Finn Balor, Jon Moxley, Tai Chi, The Fiend, and Velveteen Dream. I want to start with Tai Chi because, Sam, you just need to describe it.
It's amazing. So first, some really cheesy church organ music hits, and you think, what is going on here? And then his model, I don't know if she's his girlfriend. I don't think she is. I think she just accompanies him to the ring. Anyway, Miho Abe, who is his accomplice, she comes out and kneels down on the ramp, and then he walks to the ring in like a huge robe, singing his own theme song, which is like this mad operatic church organ music. It's really weird, and it's brilliantly, fantastically New Japan. I think his subtitle is The God Emperor Tai Chi. And then then when he gets in the ring, he rips off his trousers. I forgot about that bit, which is an important part of the entrance, and gets a pop.
He also has a shiny metal glove or something, and
the glove is possessed by an evil spirit.
And the Phantom of the Opera mask. Like,
yes.
It's just, if Phantom of the Opera met the Undertaker and had sex with Freddie Mercury, that would be their love child.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Tai Chi's going to be the one to watch this year. He's as well. He's going to have a breakout year, I reckon. Fantastic entrance.
I completely forgot about his match with Tomohiro Ishii at Dominion, I think it was. Terrific match. If you want character work, that match is the match for you. Funnily enough, no, I'll tell a lie. The other New Japan entrant is Jon Moxley, also in AEW, but I think we're all giving him nominations for his New Japan entrance. We've already touched about that, so I don't think we need to go into that too further, which leaves the other 3, which are in WWE. Let's talk about Finn Balor first. Demon Balor. can you ever go wrong with Demon Balor?
No, so I actually admit that I had a really hard time ranking this list because I forgot about a lot of wrestlers. I was kind of sat there going, there's not that many people who don't just kind of walk to the ring and point at people, you know? But yeah, Finn Balor, Demon Finn Balor, I'd forgotten about because he's only done it, like twice this year? They stopped him doing it for ages. He didn't do it at WrestleMania either.
No, I think he did it at WrestleMania. Because he did it at WrestleMania and first Saudi show. Yeah, he definitely did it at WrestleMania because he fought Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental title as a Demon, but not at Royal Rumble not a Royal Rumble when he wanted Brock Lesnar for the Universal title.
Yeah, was that when he did the? Oh, so I'm getting it mixed up because I know he did the Finn Balor Club is for everyone thing.
Oh yeah, that was WrestleMania 34.
Oh, okay, that was last year.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, that was
a
year
before last now.
Yeah. And I think his NXT entrance is pretty cool, like with the spotlight and doing the arms out thing to begin with before turning into the two guns to represent the Prince. I think that was I just reenacted that. So if my audio went down, you know why. Sorry, listeners. So yeah, Finn Balor's pretty cool. Velveteen Dream. That New York entrance is just a thing of beauty.
Was that where he dressed up as Hulk Hogan?
No, Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think he did like Tyler Breeze ripoff at Takeover 25, and he dresses like he did like an entrance of the Toronto Raptors at Takeover Toronto as well, like their cheerleaders. So he always has special entrances,
and that's why I put him as my top number one because with Velveteen you always get something different, whereas with the other wrestlers, once after like the third or fourth time you're used to their entrances, like you're not surprised, whereas part of Velveteen is you want to see his entrance.
Yeah, I guess that's like a draw, yeah. I wonder if that's because he is the only one who wants to do it, or if that's because he's the only one that's allowed to do it, though.
I think it's NXT has always gave like a personal to like special entrance. So you had like Demon Balor, you have Shinsuke Nakamura do it, and I think that's been passed on to Velveteen Dream now. So once Dream eventually moves to either Raw or SmackDown, I don't think that will be the case, and then you'd probably have a new wrestler get like a unique entrance. But yeah, I think it's one thing NXT does very well in general, just as a comment, like their entrances are so much better than any other promotion.
It's surprising given that they're like obviously intended to be a lower budget promotion than the two main roster shows, and yet most main roster wrestlers just have walk to the ring.
It's just I think it's just different tone, lighting, and whatnot.
Maybe it's
there's still some spectacular main roster entrances. Let's not beat around the bush, But NXT pretty much does everything better, except for this entrance, the Fiend. The Fiend is very popular. When you first saw his entrance at SummerSlam, what did you think, guys?
The first thing that I got. All right, you go, Sam.
Oh, sorry, no, you go, Chen. It's fine.
All right, I will. That's the first thing that my eyes pointed to when Bray Wyatt made his entrance as the Fiend was the lamp of his head.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that fucking like freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ugh. Like, I'm a lover of horror, so if you like can creep me out like any way possible, like.
I remember us seeing it and being like, well, I think we were all at Belushi's for this one.
Yeah.
And being like, whose head is it? And then realizing, oh no, that's actually Bray Wyatt's head. Is the lantern. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
It shows you actually don't need maybe big pyro or anything to have a cool entrance. You just need effective lighting and a cool prop.
Bray Wyatt's always had a cool entrance, whether it's a Fiend or...
just Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, it used to be the only cool thing about him, actually, in fairness. I like his theme as well.
Yeah, both his themes are absolutely sick. So do you want to comment on any other entrances before I move on?
Can I just give one honourable mention? I know we're trying to get through quickly, but to Minoru Suzuki, I mean, yeah, it's not, again, it is just a walk to the ring entrance, but he has that song. When I watched Royal Quest live, I realised that people in the crowd were singing the whole song. If you watched the VOD of that show back,
Yeah.
the commentary team are like, everyone in London knows the words to this song that's all in Japanese. That's completely mad. And then like, I've never heard that line sung louder. It's great. He's a legend.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If I had to give an honourable mention, it'd be to the best in the world, Shane McMahon. He didn't get my 10 points, but I did like that entrance.
He does have a cool entrance, though. Yeah.
Anyway, top 5 time. At 5, it's Demon Finn Balor with 20 points. At 4th is Taichi with 21 points.
Yes.
Third is John Moxley at 27 points. Second is Velveteen Dream with 31 points, and an overwhelming 52 points has gone to The Fiend. So Jason, Mike, and myself voted for The Fiend. Chen voted for Velveteen Dream. He was a close second for me. And Sam and Chris both voted for John Moxley. So top 3 getting all like the big points. Let's move on to tag team. And the best tag team nominees, keep that in. I'm a professional. Are Aussie Open, the Kabuki Warriors, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, the Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz, and the Young Bucks. So I'm going to kick this off with the Young Bucks, and I say I didn't give them any points. I don't like them. Deal with it.
I also didn't give them any points because I think if this was we were doing these awards 5 years ago or 3 years ago, I'd have given them way more points. But now it's like they've been indie wrestlers for so long, right? That people used to give them credit for always having the same match. Because when you go and see the Young Bucks, you're going to get a Young Bucks match where they do the Young Bucks stuff, and that's what you paid to go and see. And that's fair. But when you're doing weekly TV, you can't just do that every week. Like, you can't win every match with the Meltzer driver. Nick selling his back in every single fucking match. It's like, come on, lads.
Yeah. I'm just, I like for every great match they have, I find one match very infuriating. Like I really didn't like their match with the Lucha Brothers at All Out, I believe it was. But I really liked the match at Fight for the Fallen with the Rose Brothers. So it's just more frustration with them. But Chen, you gave them the full 10.
Yep.
So what do you say in response to our moaning?
So I get it. With the Young Bucks, it's more like an old school versus new school. Whereas, the old school heads will keep saying, "Oh, the Young Bucks are not selling. They're just doing countless dumb spots that doesn't need to be done." But for me, it's just all entertainment. It's like the old heads will be saying all this, "Oh, screw that flippy shit." But for me, I admire their storytelling in the ring. Sam, I know you said you don't like Nick selling his back. I love it. I love their matches. I think they make tag team very, very entertaining. But also, let's be honest, without it, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be another brand as well, AEW. So it's just what they contribute to the business this year as well.
Yeah, I guess you have to factor that in, don't you? There's no arguing.
I disagree because I believe it's just talking about like as wrestlers, and I think they can be great storytellers, but at the same time, when you basically start selling like an injury from a ladder, and then you climb up the ladder so quickly, and then do another move, and then you climb up a ladder and do another move, like the point of the moves that a ladder match is supposed to be devastating, especially a multi-man ladder match, and they completely failed at that storytelling. And just for that alone, I can't give them any points.
But Brod, have you ever had like have you ever played football where you got tackled really badly, but you just carried on because of the adrenaline?
Yeah, but it's just not really the same thing. It's just you got to be selling. You got to be selling the fact that you're down, and it's just there's no real craft in that match at all. And for every 5-star that it gets from like someone like Dave Meltzer, who apparently knows everything about wrestling, there's someone like me that just goes, well, that's just done. Anyway, let's move on before we get into too much.
I was going to say, this is obviously a very, very difficult topic, given I didn't give them any points either. So we could have a whole episode about this.
So let's go on to their opponents, the Lucha Brothers from that match, who all received points across the board. Are the only person in this top 6 that did. just to let you guys know. What do you think of the Lucha Brothers? They were quite low down on my list just because I haven't liked their work in AEW, but their work in Impact was terrific. Sam, you've probably seen both, so what do you think?
I think the Lucha Brothers are definitely one of those tag teams that have been around in Mexico for a while, and now they're finally starting to break out across the rest of the world. For me, that Young Bucks ladder match they really held that match together for me. They made that match into a really good match from like just another Young Bucks jumping off ladders type match. But then also they're kind of actually quite good at storytelling in the ring too. Some of their matches I watched in AAA where like people expect them to be kind of leaving the promotion, and then they're like, yeah, it's good. They're good at wrestling basically.
And Chen, what do you think of the Lucha Brothers?
I haven't watched many of the matches apart from what I've seen on AEW, but yeah, it's just the ladder match I can recall with the Bucks.
Fair enough.
I don't think, to me, they're just average so far, but like they haven't had that. Apart from that one match, they haven't had any other outstanding matches, in my opinion, from what I've seen on AEW.
Well, if you can be bothered to go back to Impact, I can recommend the match from I can't remember the actual page. I think it's
great plug, Rod. Great plug.
Impact Rebellion, I believe, is a pay-per-view from April this year. It was a leave and do match with Santana and Ortiz. They were known as LAX in Impact, and that was absolutely terrific TLC match, absolutely violent. I think it was a better ladder match than the one with the Young Bucks. So I recommend that. Speaking of Santana and Ortiz, it's divided people on this list. So, Sam, what do you think of the Inner Circle's new requirements?
I put them fairly high up the list. I think
same.
Not necessarily actually because of their work in AEW, because I don't know. They've had a few relatively high-profile matches, but I don't think they've had like a breakout match or a breakout feud there yet.
Yeah.
Whereas, every other match I've seen them in every other promotion, they've absolutely smashed it. I saw them at Progress this year as well, and they're just as good live at a small venue as they are on the telly. They're just a great tag team.
Yeah, is Ortiz the one with the afro?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, whoever has the afro, really entertaining live. I saw him at Pancakes and Pile Drivers in New York, and it was just like this weird little indie show, and it was absolutely brilliant. Lucha Brothers were also in that match, funnily enough. So yeah, they're absolutely great live, and I think they had a terrific year in Impact, which kind of negates some of the I wouldn't say bad, it's just they haven't been outstanding yet in AEW, but I think they're definitely ones to watch in 2020. And I think them and the Young Bucks can definitely have a better match than what was at Full Gear. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Sam, you gave 10 points to Aussie Open, I believe.
Yes, my boys. They are probably the biggest up-and-coming tag team in the UK at the moment, I think it'd be fair to say, and I guess across the world, but they're both based in the UK, so I'm claiming them even though they're Australian. They've had a fantastic year in every promotion they've wrestled in. They had one of my, I think, top 5 matches of the year was the ladder match they had with the Swords of Essex at Progress Chapter 87, correct me if I'm wrong, which was the Swords of Essex, of course, is Will Ospreay and Paul Robinson. And it's one of the most brutal kind of TLC matches I've ever seen. And I was there live. Like, it was terrifying and fantastic. Glorious wrestling violence, as John Moxley would say. And then also to be featured on the New Japan Pro Wrestling card at Royal Quest was great. Really good to see them there. I think they probably would have been in World Tag League had Mark Davis not tragically got injured. So they're going to be ones to watch when he gets back from injury, which should be soon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed Ozzy's favorite independent acts, so it's great to see them do stuff now in New Japan. I can't wait for them to climb the ladder of success.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of great talent thing. We're more exposed to wrestling than ever before. Speaking of great talent that came from the independent and become hugely successful, my 10 points went to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era. What are your thoughts on the Undisputed Era's tag team, Chen?
I love them. I think they're badass, and this is my point about what I'm trying to make about a tag team. Like, if you're part of a faction, can
Yep.
you function without that faction as a single wrestler or as a tag team? And I think Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish have made the name for themselves.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the Undisputed Era, and we'll probably talk more about this in the faction, is that the wrestlers themselves can do stand alone, and they're heels that win clean most of the time. And Fish and O'Reilly have had some outstanding matches, especially Kyle O'Reilly. I think he is probably the most underrated gem in NXT. But both of them, just absolute superb tag team wrestlers. Every single tag team match they do has been fantastic in NXT. And whenever I see those two names pop up, I'm definitely not missing that episode, whatever it takes, like Avengers Endgame. Last but not least, let's talk about the only women's tag team on this list, the Kabuki Warriors, which I'm surprised that they're this high, to be honest. But yeah, what do we think of Asuka and Kairi Sane as a tag team?
It surprised me, that combination, because I thought, why not Io Shirai? But then obviously I guess either one of them had to stay down in NXT to be, the nasty foreigner down there, or to be Japanese bitch, as Io said in that video.
Io was a face at the time.
Oh yeah. But I mean, long-term booking, mate.
Yeah.
They needed. I don't know. I didn't understand why Io Shirai wasn't in this tag team, and the name of the tag team was a bit strange. But I read in an interview that they picked it themselves. So fair enough.
Yeah, Chen.
Really?
We were there when they got named on SmackDown.
We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I remember Paige's Music came out, and I heard the name when I was ordering a beer, like through like the O2 doors, and I was like, "The fuck!" And I genuinely thought they said Bukaki Warriors. I'm like,
No, that's
and
a
I'm
different
like,
thing.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's unfortunate for Paige.
Oh dear.
Vince McMahon's a wrong one, isn't he? And then it's like I came down and I was like, did I hear that correct, Chen? And Chen was just like, no, it's Kabuki. And I was
It's
like,
like
I had to Google it, and I was just like, oh, okay, so it's only just a bit insensitive, not.
It's like Japanese shadow puppetry. To me, it sounded like someone in their writing team had just written a load of Japanese words on like a board and then thrown darts at it and been like, "Yeah, that'll do."
Yeah, that's why
I can just imagine Vince going, I really want to be sushi. God damn it, it's Kabuki.
But that's why I'm very surprised you just said that they picked it out themselves, the wrestlers.
So I mean, it's the WWE, right? They might just be saying that. They might have wanted other names, and then eventually writing was like, "What do you think about Kabuki Warriors?" And they went, "Yeah, all right." And then the writers were like, "There, you heard it. They picked it. There." So I don't know.
I will say this though.
Sorry, Chen.
So I had them on my list, and I only started to really like them as soon as they ditched Paige and went heel.
Yeah, same.
And the stock, especially Asuka's stock, has gone back up to where it normally was before she lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Kairi's stock has risen as well.
Yeah, and that TLC match they had was amazing as well. They had recently.
Ooh, I would say it was a disaster. Like just
You
because
think so?
Kairi's concussion, like it was.
Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, that's just
one.
Charlotte Flair made that very uncomfortable.
But it's just one.
And I expected better from Charlotte.
Match.
But anyway, it was up to the point where Kairi looked to be concussed. It was actually really good. I do agree with that.
But now, when you tune into WWE, I think that I'm more excited about the Kabuki Warriors than any of the other tag teams.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, they're the only main roster.
I mean, would you say the women's title is more relevant right now than the Raw and SmackDown? I think it is.
I think you make. I'm going to say that you make a valid point, and I think part of that is like them turning heel. I think part of that is also feuding with Becky and Charlotte. So yeah, I think that's a very valid point. In fairness,
yeah,
no, I can't really argue that. I can't even. I don't even know who the tag team. Oh, wait, it's Viking Raiders. But that's what I mean. Like I was racking my SmackDown one. It's like, oh yeah, it's New Day, and they're both great teams in their own right. But it's just like I don't care, and at least I know who are the women's tag team champions. So you're completely right, Chen. So any other thoughts before I announce the results?
Nah.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Fair enough. Fifth place is Aussie Open with 23 points. Fourth place. Fourth place. Fourth place. I'm going to do that from now on. Is Santana and Ortiz with 26 points. In third place is the Kabuki Warriors with 28 points. In second place is the Young Bucks with 31 points. And we have another joint winner with 38 points. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era and the Lucha Brothers.
Wow. Widespread of points there, because the Young Bucks are way high and I don't give them anything. Same with O'Reilly and Fish.
Yeah, so the only tag team that got points across the board were the Lucha Brothers. Chris gave them 10. I gave Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish 10. Chen gave 10 to the Young Bucks. You gave 10 to the Aussie Open, Sam. Viking Raiders got 10 from Mike. They just missed out on being nominated. And so did the Revival, as Jason gave them 10 points. But yeah, there's a huge spread across the board. But basically, O'Reilly and Fish had higher average amongst 5 nominations. Meanwhile, Lucha Brothers had all the nominations. So yeah, it was kind of weird how it works out, just like Gargano and Ospreay earlier. So best faction. Only 5 nominees here. Inner Circle, New Day, The Elite, The OC, and The Undisputed Era. Let's talk Inner Circle and Elite first, since they're both really highly rated. Sam, I believe you gave The Elite 10 points.
Yeah, I guess because they are probably the most impactful wrestling faction this year. I wasn't sure whether we were just talking about in-ring or overall impact on the business as a whole. And you can't deny that if it's the business as a whole, the Elite started the second biggest wrestling company in North America at the moment.
Tony Khan did.
Oh yeah, all right, but Tony Khan on his own would not have been able to push AEW to the heights that it has. Their name is the name of the show. They are the Elite.
But would you say they were a great in-ring faction though? Because I think in-ring character work, I think they've not been the best this year. I'm just going to throw that ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. The reason I rated them so high, overall impact on the business, and then I suppose before AEW started their kind of stuff on being the Elite, it was always been very good and fun to watch too. So in terms of being an entertaining faction for those reasons, they've been quite good. But yeah, wrestling wise, you don't really get faction warfare in American wrestling anymore. But still, yeah, not that great.
Interesting thought. The Inner Circle got the most second places. That's what I'm going to reveal early on. Chen, what do you think of the Inner Circle? Are they the next great heel faction?
It's hard to. I think popularity-wise, they are the second most popular. But to me, this goes back to all right. For example, let's take Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Each member was established. The Inner Circle, people might still think of them as just Chris Jericho and his crew.
I disagree. Batista was definitely not established at that point. He was a deacon on SmackDown, and Randy Orton was a young up and comer. He wasn't doing
those
anything,
were early
anything
days,
that great.
right?
Yeah, but so this is the exact same for Sammy Guevara. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think the comparison's fair, in my opinion. Yeah.
Let me use another example. They're not like the NWO with 3 established wrestlers.
You're saying they're not. You're saying they're not that. Damn it.
Yeah.
I think they kind of do have 3 established wrestlers, don't they? Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz.
Oh no, I disagree.
Name brand.
Yeah, I get what Chen's saying. To be fair, I would say Jake Hager's quite established with his stuff in Bellator.
If you say the Elite, you know the members' names. They all have star value, really big star value.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess Jake Hager's been an odd one because he's one that everyone seems to know, but he hasn't really done anything either good or bad on AEW television yet.
Yeah, but the reason I put
there.
The reason I put them second was because they still function as a unit. They interrupt matches. They beat down people together. It's never like singles and stuff. They do stuff as a unit. Whereas this year, the Elite doesn't seem to be doing that much as a group.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Actually, that's the point. At that, because they could have gone with an angle at that bit where all the inner circle were up in that booth. I've bought a ticket. You know that bit
yeah.
where they interrupted Cody's promo. But then the people that came out to help Cody were like DDP and his brother and stuff, not the Elite who he's supposed to be in a faction with.
Yeah. I think we could. I think we could go on about Inner Circle versus Elite, but I think we need to touch on the other candidates briefly. New Day, fantastic year. Kofi Kingston, WWE champion, more tag team belts. Does anybody else have anything to add about New Day?
Shame about Xavier Woods' injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's a huge loss.
He doesn't get to wrestle enough. I think he's surprisingly good.
I think he might be my favorite member.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's incredibly talented individual. Like whatever he'll do, like I think he can make a great host one day or commentator as well. Like him and Big E, I want them on commentary. Like I want a New Day, I want a proper New Day commentary booth, and they're all retired. Like, could you imagine? I mean, it'd be so nauseating, but so fun at the same time.
They should do like at the ECW pay-per-view, the first one they did in 2005. On the extras of the DVD, they mic'd up Bradshaw for the whole show, so you can watch a version of it, which is just Bradshaw getting more and more and more and more pissed. And then,
my God, really?
About the ECW wrestlers? Yeah.
Oh my God!
An episode of OSW review where they talk about it. They should do that with Xavier Woods.
Wait, please tell me you have that DVD.
I don't, but I can.
I am going to fucking buy it. That is amazing. Yeah, I just want to quickly shout out the stuff on the road to WrestleMania. Their storytelling was the best thing on SmackDown this year, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that gauntlet match, man.
Yeah, all the gauntlet matches. It was great because it's just telling great stories. It's like, you know what you need? A different type of gauntlet match, and it told a different story. You know, that's how you do repetition well, not the same tag team match over and over again and again on Raw. Briefly speaking about Raw, the OC, better than the club 3 years ago. I know it's the exact same faction, but they're doing it better now. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think so. They were definitely the people, when I was at the Madison Square Garden show, they were the T-shirts I saw the most frequently, actually.
Really?
Interesting. Surprising. Yeah, well, they had that cool design on sale there, so I think a lot of people have probably bought them and put them on. But still, more popular than I was expecting.
I'm just glad they're wrestling as a unit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Group again, yeah.
Yeah, it made sense. And last but not least, the Undisputed Era. Chen and I both gave 10 points. Sam, you gave it quite low. So, Chen, why is the Undisputed Era your faction of the year?
Because they all won gold this year at the same time.
Wrestling's not real, right?
Let me finish.
It's predetermined.
The whole point of faction is they have to function as a unit and everything. When one person has a match, the others come in and interfere and everything like that. So they do everything together. Even the War Games match they had was amazing this year. They just did that's how they functioned as a unit. That's the whole point of the faction, not do individual things.
There's so much great subtle storytelling with the Undisputed Era. Like they teased like Adam Cole and Roderick Strong rifting, like everything from like when they first started like trying to recruit Roderick Strong, and then Roderick Strong joins the faction, and the Adam Cole like breaking away tease, and then Adam Cole winning the NXT title, and then the prophecy, from losing streak to winning streak. I just think it's been a fantastic, 2 years in NXT, and Undisputed Era have been the pinnacle of that. And
the most important thing is every man can stand on their own. They don't need
absolutely. Like Adam Cole, terrific matches, trilogy of matches with Johnny Gargano. Roderick Strong's been a great North American champion. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. So, without further ado, here's the top 5. On 29 points was the OC. On 30 points was the New Day. On third place, the Elite with 44 points. In second place was the Inner Circle with 51 poins. And top position was the Undisputed Era with 54 points. Everyone but Sam gave Undisputed Era 10 points in this category. So
I don't watch NXT.
if you did, you probably would give him 10 points.
Yeah, maybe I would. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
probably would have put Bullet Club in if you watched New Japan, but there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to watch more New Japan. Like, I think the stuff with the Switchblade era has been pretty interesting, like from what I can read. So I definitely will try to check out more New Japan in 2020.
Tough though, eh? Too much bloody wrestling.
I can just ditch Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I got rid of the network recently.
Sam.
Yes.
You gotta understand, Brod's dating now. He's on the dating scene. He doesn't.
Oh
have
yes,
that
I
much
forgot.
time for wrestling.
That's a different type of
I just don't
wrestling.
need. I just don't need time for sleep anymore. That's anyway. We're down to 4 final awards. Let's get through this one pretty quickly because it's pretty obvious. It's down to 2 really. Best weekly show: NXT, AEW Dynamite, Impact Wrestling, SmackDown, NXT UK. That's in a random order. Let's talk about Impact briefly, Sam. We've both seen bits of it. What do you think of Impact?
I think it's probably the best, I'm just going to tune in for this one-off show and then oh, wow, I actually saw probably one of the best matches I've seen this month or in a while, Yeah. It's consistently actually pretty decent. They've done a really good job of undoing the rot that Billy Corgan and the TNA era kind of placed on them as a company, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, the total non-action global full-stop wrestling, whatever it is. Yeah, they've done a terrific job. Don Callis and Scott D'Amore, and there's another producer, and Jimmy Jacobs is also a booker there. They've done a terrific job of turning things around. And Impact, they kind of remind me of the best of the Ruthless Aggression era. NXT UK surprisingly making the top 5. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen?
So I think it made the top 5 because it's a top 10 list, right? But we've only got 5 nominees. And what were the other show? You'd only include Raw. What other weekly wrestling shows are there?
The ones that didn't make the cut were Raw, and NWA Power, AEW Dark, MLW, Women of Wrestling, 205 Live, and Backstage.
Oh yeah. So not really a spread of incredible shows there.
I think NWA Power's underrated, but
but they've only done a different time. And also they've only done about 10 episodes, so you couldn't, if it's our year and awards of the year, it wouldn't really be fair to include them because they haven't been running that long. They've only been in the last quarter.
Fair enough. SmackDown, great start to the year, and then after WrestleMania downhill. Chen, you gave this 10 points. Why did you give SmackDown 10?
Out of WWE, to me, it was my favorite show. Like you said, it started off great due to the New Day and Daniel Bryan. And in the middle of the month, it went downhill and everything. But I feel like it's finishing off strong, mainly because maybe the move to Fox helped it become more entertaining again. And just seeing different matches and everything. I was disappointed we didn't get to see more Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, even though he was drafted. But SmackDown's the one for me.
But they get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So here's, this has been a fight between many wrestling fans on the interwebs, AEW or NXT. So I'm just going to throw that question out to you right now, guys. AEW or NXT? Chen?
I put AEW.
Over NXT. Sam, did you put AEW or NXT? Oh, AEW. I put
AEW as well.
I put NXT, but that's my perfect vision of wrestling. So
on the way out of the Madison Square Garden show, the fans leaving as they were walking out started dueling AEW NXT chants, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice way of putting it, but oh my goodness, the fans get really angry about protecting one brand. It's like both are good.
You can watch both. It's not like you miss it and then that's just it. You're never gonna see it.
Sam,
it's not Raw versus Nitro.
Sam, You can't be a Jedi and Sith at the same time. You can only be one.
Chen, if you've played Knights of the Old Republic 1, you'll know that actually you can be a Jedi and a Sith at the same time. Thank
Isn't
you
that
very
called
much.
like a grey Jedi or something?
Yeah, it's called gaming the system so that you don't have to pay a penalty by using the different skills or whatever. But this is not a Knights of the Old Republic podcast.
To be fair, fuck it. I'll just go full Palpatine. I want Force Lightning. Anyway, I am the Senate, and I am the host. So let's just cut this conversation short. Fifth place NXT UK with 24 points. Fourth place Impact with 27. Third place SmackDown with 37. And there's only 1 point between NXT and AEW Dynamite.
Wow.
Wow.
Ooh,
AEW Dynamite has 54. NXT has 55.
Whoa! So how did the scores lay out then? Because I
So-
know that everyone would have put NXT and AEW as 1 and 2.
No. So
No.
no. So basically, NXT got 10 points from myself, Mike, and Jason. Chris and yourself, Sam, gave 10 to AEW, and Chen, you gave obviously SmackDown 10 points.
Yeah.
Dynamite got 9 points from Jason, Chen, Mike, and that's it. Sam and Chris gave 9 points to NXT. I gave 7 points to AEW. Chen gave 7 points to NXT. So it was literally a few points in it. But yeah,
Bloody good year for wrestling.
it was quite a significant gap. But then Chris got his nominations in, and it became like a point in between. So Chris left us until the last 30 minutes. So Chris, if you're listening, fuck you for making me delay this podcast.
Yeah, fuck you, Chris.
Fuck you, Chris. It's a weekly thing that we do to our long-time producer. Yeah. Anyway, pay-per-view. And the top 5, according to this list, this is not an order. This is an alphabetical order, so I'm not revealing anything just yet. AEW Double or Nothing, New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 13, NXT TakeOver New York, NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and WWE WrestleMania 35. Let's go in order, alphabetical order. Let's start with AEW Double or Nothing. Myself and Sam didn't give this any points, but Chen, you gave this a really high score. So why did you give Double or Nothing a high score?
You guys didn't give it nothing.
No, I didn't give it anything.
No, I'm literally looking up the card now so I can remind myself.
Cody versus Dustin. I mean, that was a great match.
Oh,
Yeah.
was that show?
Yeah.
Apart from that, I forgot what happened there. I just remembered that one match. So
Omega versus Jericho too. I mean, it has some good there's been so much good wrestling. That's why I didn't include it this. But it's a pretty good show, I would say.
Yeah, and it was the debut of John Moxley in AEW. You gotta remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why I can't remember this. It's because when we watched it, we watched it live in that bar in Victoria Station.
No, that was All Out.
Was that All Out?
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't remember. I didn't have any AEW pay-per-views in my top. I only did 5, but I didn't have any AEW pay-per-views in there. I didn't think they'd had like a standout show. I think they've had a lot of good matches, but for me, nothing.
I really liked Full Gear. I put that in my top 10. But anyway, back to the original point. So why Double or Nothing, Chen?
Well, one, because half the talent I've never seen before, and it was just mainly the marketing behind this pay-per-view, like the whole big build-up, right?
Yeah.
So when I finally got into tune in and everything, I just enjoyed it from a wrestling perspective, mainly. Like when I looked at the 6-woman tag match, I didn't know who any of these wrestlers were, but I was like, "Oh wow, these are some awesome women." Again, the Dustin and Cody match was one of my favorite matches of the year, and like I said, I didn't give 2 craps about it leading up to it, but it blew my mind away.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I always love the Young Bucks, and Pentagon and Phoenix are really great wrestlers as well. I thought that all 4 men have great chemistry with each other.
Yeah, I think it was a good show on the whole. Another surprising no points for you, Sam, is New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Yeah, I maybe because I only did a top 5. Maybe I bottom the list if I'd kind of had time, but I got mine in pretty late as well. That show for me, it was built up a lot, and then I think it was kind of marred by the fact that the
Bucks were
elite were
leaving.
all leaving, yeah, and so a lot of the matches had like a weird feel to them. Like Kenny Omega doing that incredible Undertale. Undertale's a video game, incredible video game you should play. But he had like a special entrance made up to tell the story of him leaving New Japan in like a really nice way, and they didn't let him use it, so it all felt a bit, I don't know, a bit predictable, and it wasn't the standard I expected from Wrestle Kingdom. It wasn't like this year.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I thought Wrestle Kingdom was a pretty good show on the whole. It wasn't as good as the last 2 or 3 Wrestle Kingdoms, but it was still really good, enough to make it my top 10. You also gave no points to NXT Takeover New York, Sam.
Yeah, again, I only did a top 5, so that might have been in the bottom half of the top 5, but I couldn't remember it, to be honest. I don't watch NXT. Sorry.
So Chen and myself both gave this 10 points. Chen, why did you give this the top marks?
Well, like I said, I'm not as bad as Sam, but obviously everyone knows that when it comes to NXT, I mainly just tune in for the pay-per-views, so I don't follow it weekly like you, Brod. But
You
look
should.
at the
It's way better than Raw SmackDown. I'm just saying, you love it.
okay, but just even like but just look at the talent that they have. And for example, I didn't know anything about the Street Profits at that time.
Mhm.
And so they entertained the crap out of me. I was really amazed.
They weren't on that takeover.
Yes, it was.
Nope.
Wait, which one? Wait, let me get my notes. Hold up. Which one
There's,
was
It was a really good show, though, yeah.
Yeah, it's Aleister Black and Ricochet versus
that one.
War
Yeah.
Raiders. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, that was a good match.
Yep. Yeah, it was a really good match. I know it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Velveteen and Matt Riddle as well. Like,
Mm.
those are two different styles that you were wondering how the hell they were gonna gel
Yeah.
together in the ring, and it worked out well. Walter, that was the first time I've seen a proper match from him, because I don't really follow NXT UK that much. So when I saw Walter versus Pete Dunne, I'm a big Pete Dunne fan, and I think that also I was glad that match happened because it was showcasing British wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was
showed,
well. I mean, Volta's Austrian, but yeah, I get what you mean.
not according to Nigel Farage. But yeah, it showcased British wrestling really well. I would give every match 4-star or above, which is just rare for me to do that. But yeah, I think that match. I think all 5 matches on that card were of excellent quality. There was something there for everyone. For me, it was close to a perfect show that you could get, and I'm not just saying that because I was there or anything like that. I've watched it back, and it was definitely the best show this year, in my opinion.
So, I mean, yeah, I wish that at the beginning of the year I had known that we were going to do an end of year awards, or that was I even doing this podcast this time last year? I don't remember.
No, you debuted in the Royal Rumble episode, which we're doing again this year.
Yes. So I wish I'd known, because I would have made so many more notes throughout the year. Like, doing this was really hard to remember individual shows.
To be honest, I relied on you guys to come up with ideas, and I just copied you. So I had a rough idea of who would win each category, filling out the rest of the top 10.
Also, with that was also the first time I saw Bianca Belair as well.
Really? She
yeah.
appeared in the previous takeover at Phoenix.
I don't remember that match, but I remember this one.
I remember all the takeovers. Everything else I don't remember, to be honest. But
okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, Bianca Belair, terrific talent. No doubt.
So what were the results, Brad?
We got Takeover Cardiff and WrestleMania to discuss.
Oh, we haven't. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead.
Yeah, jeez, keep that in. If I screw up, you screw up, and everyone's got to know.
We just have to live with our mistakes.
Yeah, both myself and Sam rated Takeover Cardiff highly. Why do you rate Takeover Cardiff highly, Sam?
It was the first real big UK takeover, wasn't it?
The first one was Blackpool, but this one was probably better, I would say.
Yeah, I think the Blackpool one was like a bit default. It was like we're doing it because it's expected. We've just started this new promotion, and now we're going to do a big takeover. Whereas this was like the first NXT UK, like now we're up and running as a promotion type show with like established feuds and things instead of just like marquee matches from the indies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what made it really, really good. Kaylee Ray versus Tony Storm was an absolute blinder of a match, even though I'm actually seeing here it was only about 10 minutes long. I thought it was longer than that. But this show had Volta versus Tyler Bate on it.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say anymore.
Yeah, I think I gave that 9 points in match of the year, and I think if it weren't for my own personal bias of being a Takeover New York, that would have got the full 10. Like, it was close to wrestling perfection as I've ever seen in between like two NXT wrestlers, I would say. Yeah.
Cesaro turned up as well. What a show!
Cesaro versus Ilya Dragunov. I mean, all 6 matches were terrific. And that tag match, that triple threat tag match as well. Just you can't go wrong with grizzled young veterans. And last but not least, WrestleMania 35. Wide range of scores for this one, but shall we just say it was a really well booked show? They didn't overthink it. On the day, they gave Becky Lynch the 2 titles. They gave Seth Rollins the Universal title. They made Kofi Mania happen.
Kofi Mania was good.
Yeah, I mean that they made all the right decisions on that pay-per-view, right?
It's the learning from New Japan. Sometimes you just give the fans what they want, and that's how you make it. My only criticism of that show is it was so fucking long. I watched it live from the UK, and by the end of it, like I just didn't have any energy to get excited about Becky Lynch winning.
Yeah, no one in the stadium did except for me, but that's because I wisely got a coffee during the show. Which I tell you what, if you ever do Mania, guys, get yourself a fucking can of Red Bull.
They should learn another lesson from New Japan and just do a 2-day one.
No. I'm absolutely fine with 7 hours. Just make sure you give everyone a courtesy can of Red Bull. Just say, drink that halfway through. Just for
to get you through to the end.
Yeah.
Well, they could just cut out a lot of the bollocks. There's so much bollocks on WrestleMania that they could just do away with. Took half an hour for people to come and walk and stand out on the stage and then walk back in again.
Oh, when the dance break happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just like, this is a troll.
Here's last night's Hall of Fame winners from the show you could have watched last night if you cared, but we're making you see it now anyway.
I wish I was there though. The Bret Hart incident.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Anyway,
I forgot, but it would have been interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, Dash Wilder, what a lad. Smacking that guy, good lad. I don't condone any physical violence whatsoever. Anyway, top 5 results. WrestleMania 35 got 19 points. TakeOver Cardiff got 25 points. Wrestle Kingdom 13 finished 3rd with 28 points. AEW Double or Nothing finished 2nd with 33 points. And overwhelming winner here was NXT TakeOver New York with 47 points. Jason, Chen, myself, and Chris gave TakeOver New York 10 points. Honorable mentions, Mike gave 10 points to TakeOver War Games, and Sam, you gave 10 points to Best of Super Juniors Final from New Japan.
I did indeed.
Let's move on to Best Female. My voice is going, so I'm going to be brief. The nominees are Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, and Tessa Blanchard. Let's start off with the 2 WrestleMania main eventers. First and foremost, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Terrific year for both women, right?
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Chen, do you want to add anything?
Well, I think it should go to Becky. I mean, she pushed the whole. If people don't read like dirt sheets or anything, the whole plan was for Ronda versus Charlotte to be WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even think at that time was considered to be the closing match be the main event. But Becky, she put the women division on. She brought it straight to the hot seat. I don't even think there'll be an Evolution pay-per-view if it wasn't for Becky being so popular.
The Evolution was kind of announced before SummerSlam, so.
But relevance-wise,
Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella was one
Oh
bums on
yeah,
seats.
because that's a really money maker match, isn't it?
Yeah, Nikki Bella, work
That's
rate
really
legend
gonna
Nikki Bella.
All right. Oh goodness, I'm not going to defend Nikki Bella right now, but she's not as bad as everyone makes her out to be. Anyway,
And then
Anyway,
I think
let's get-
also the advertisement that Becky brought, the promotional stuff she brought outside of WWE, everyone was paying attention to her. Like they weren't covering women's wrestling, but they're covering Becky Lynch.
Oh yeah, we
And she made the cover of 2K, first
Yeah,
woman, right?
yeah, first cover to
Yeah.
make the WWE 2K series, and
Shame about the game.
yeah, I think their radio silence says a lot about it. Hashtag when you see hashtag ad, you know it's not genuine. Yeah, both myself, Sam, and Chen gave Becky Lynch 10 points just for the record. So will she win out? We don't know yet. Let's talk briefly about one that got nominated for 10 points, Shayna Baszler. Terrific year in NXT. Is she the most dominant woman in NXT history, Chen?
I love her. She's amazing. She carried NXT's women division, and I think she's done everything possible. But now she just needs to go to the main roster and do more.
Yeah, I think she could very well win the women's Raw and beat Becky Lynch at Mania.
I was really happy when they did the whole invasion angle, including NXT for Survivor Series, and Shayna got to show off her talent to the main roster world. So I think she'll be a big star.
Yeah, I mean, big star in WWE these days is very difficult, but I think she's been absolutely terrific. She's improved a lot in the ring as well over the past year, especially she's in her late 30s. I mean,
is she? I didn't know
yeah,
that.
to do what she does, I believe so. To do what she does and to improve that late age for the sport anyway is just phenomenal. So kudos to her as a performer. Yeah.
She's great at NXT, but she's still going to end up jobbing to Charlotte Flair on the main roster. It happened to us.
I mean, she won. I think they rate her higher. I think she's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Mark my words. I'm predicting.
All right.
Yeah. So let's talk about Rhea Ripley, who dethroned Baszler. Want to watch winner? What do we think of? Briefly, what do we think of Rhea?
I think she's great. She's really talented, and she's got an interesting character. But the question is, can she keep hot? Can she make people tune into the women's division NXT like Shayna did?
I think so. Like, I think she can be equally dominant. Like, NXT has had a lot of dominant face champions across men and women's division, whether it's like Finn Balor, Bayley, Paige, Asuka. NXT's women's division has always thrived on a dominant champion. So if you have Rhea Ripley near the top of the as a dominant champion, then I think absolutely she could carry the momentum that Baszler's given to the division.
Yeah, I mean, she's our one to watch. She's got incredible potential. NXT's all about building stars. She's in the hot seat for that to happen to her.
One person that could potentially dethrone her is Io Shirai. Segue. What do you think of Io's heel turn? Was it one of the best heel turns in the year?
I'm going to let
I think
Chen
so.
answer that. Yeah.
And also, I don't know, when all these Japanese wrestlers come into NXT, they're normally faces, so it's kind of cool to see someone become a heel.
Yeah, like Asuka was kind of a tweener after a while, but yeah, I think the full-fledged heel turn really did her a lot of favors, and that match with Candice LeRae is definitely worth noting. And last but not least, Sam, Tessa Blanchard, future Impact World Champion.
Future everything world champion. She's like probably one of the best wrestlers alive, like today.
Yeah,
she's incredible. That match with Sami Callihan at Slammiversary, brutal, and then she just continues to deliver every show I've ever. She's been fantastic.
Yeah, I have I've had the pleasure of seeing her live, and she's just awesome. And It was very close between her and Becky getting the full 10 points. That's what
Yeah,
I'll say.
same.
The only reason why I gave it to Becky was just because main event of WrestleMania and just all the feats that she's accomplished. It's more of an impact than, no pun intended, than what Tess has delivered. But that's just because of the size of the market more than anything
Exactly.
else.
That's what I was going to say. Is like it's not that Tessa couldn't do that. It's just that she hasn't.
Yeah, but I will say this: all 6 women that have been absolutely incredible talents, every single one of them. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
Just give her all the money she wants, AEW, and then build your women's division around her.
No,
Come
see,
on.
this is the only time that I want WWE to sign someone over AEW, just because I mean, who's a real horsewoman? Tessa Blanchard does for horsewomen. That's money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's money, and that's undeniable. And oh my goodness,
But her dad's Sean Spears' best pal, isn't he?
that doesn't mean anything. Like, she could have signed for AEW by now, but chosen Impact and
True.
wise decision. So let's just go through the top 6. Charlotte Flair finished 5th on 26 points. Io Shirai is 4th with 28 points. Joint 3rd, Shayna Baszler and Tessa Blanchard with 36 points. In 2nd place, Rhea Ripley with 38 points. And the overwhelming winner with 55 out of potential 60 points was Becky Lynch. As I said, Sam, myself, Chen, and Chris all gave her 10 points. Jason and Mike gave Shayna Baszler 10 points. So there you go. And on to the best male superstar, our final award. And in alphabetical order, here are the nominees: Adam Cole, Bray Wyatt, Cody, Johnny Gargano, Jon Moxley, and Will Ospreay. Let's start with Adam Cole, baby. Jason gave Adam Cole 10 points. Do you think he's worthy of being a top 10 guy in our list?
I think he is definitely 6 feet tall, and so therefore worthy of being in the top 10.
Wow, sarcasm. Chen.
Yeah, he's definitely deserves a number 1 spot, but I didn't give him the number 1 spot because he's not. I think the number 1 spot should go to a solo act, in my opinion, this year.
I mean, sorry, you go, brother.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I disagree. Adam Cole's the 3 best matches in probably, well, I wouldn't say NXT history, but 2 of the best matches in NXT history at TakeOver New York and TakeOver 25 with Johnny Gargano. He stands on his own as an NXT champion. He would be a star.
Right,
he would be a star regardless of the Undisputed Era, and I would say that as a person who is an absolute Kyle O'Reilly fanboy. So Adam Cole's great. He doesn't need the Undisputed Era. The Undisputed Era need him.
I mean, yeah, I'd kind of agree with Brod, even though I didn't actually give him any points. I didn't think it was fair to score him. I'm sorry, I don't watch NXT more.
If you watched the 2 takeovers, that's just enough to put on there, surely. Anyway, speaking of 10 points, Chen, you gave Bray Wyatt 10 points.
Yep, because he shifted the company. I'll give you one example of how important he is to company. For example, we know that WWE had the $1 billion contract with SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
The people at was it Fox?
Yeah, Fox.
They wanted Bray Wyatt. Like they demanded that they have Bray Wyatt on the show, and that just shows how powerful Bray Wyatt as a character has become and how important he is.
I think they had quite a few demands. They demanded Rey Mysterio, Brock Lesnar, and Becky Lynch as well, and
they got Brock Lesnar for like 3 weeks. Okay, right?
Okay.
But like, we also talk about comebacks. Bray Wyatt had the big comeback this year, like we said. And he's something fresh and keeps the fan entertained. Adam Cole, you know what you're gonna get from Adam Cole. Same with any of the other wrestlers in the list. To me, Bray Wyatt has made WWE interesting. And you cannot watch WWE. You might just decide to tune into Bray Wyatt's segment, and that's it. But that's
he has made the main roster interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything that Bray Wyatt has done in terms of a character and like getting people engaged has been absolutely amazing. Probably more so than any other wrestler this year. I will give you that, but his in-ring work questionable, I would say.
Oh yeah, he hasn't had like the 5-star match this year. I'll
Yeah.
give you that.
Speaking of a wrestler that had a 5-star match, and you gave him 10 points, Cody, Sam.
Yeah, I think he deserves Wrestler of the Year because when you define the category factor both in-ring, promo, character, and impact on the industry, and it's that last bit that I think pushes Cody to be the top of this list. Like him and Tony Khan. I know you said Tony Khan started AEW, but really Cody just needed a money man, didn't he? It's Cody.
I'm stirring the pot. I'm stirring the pot.
I know you are. I know you are.
I lay out the bait and you bite on it every time. Every time I say anything bad about AEW, people just bite on it. It's brilliant.
I'm very easy to troll, but like you can't deny that. Like, yeah, Tony Khan on his own wouldn't have been able to get that promotion.
Wait,
where
quick
it was,
question.
And it's all Cody.
Yeah.
Who has more power, Cody or the Bucks in AEW? Is it Cody?
Cody.
I don't know.
I thought it was a triple joint
He's
adventure.
the VP of operations.
I don't know, and to be honest, I don't really think about it too much. As long as they book it well, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah, certainly the way it's presented on screen certainly is that Cody is like the guy in charge of the company, and the Young Bucks are kind of merchandise people.
Yeah. Do you think Cody will change his surname from Rose to Jarrett?
No.
just thought I'd make that joke about superstars booking themselves. Yeah, that didn't land at all.
It kind of didn't. No.
Oh well.
Oh
well. I was doing a pretty good job as host before that point, and now it's just gone dead. But yeah,
live with our mistakes.
Yeah, I think in terms of impact, to the industry, it's hard to dispute Cody. I'll give you that. In terms of in-ring work and character work and the journey of a character, though, I decided to give my 10 points to the next nominee on this list, Johnny Gargano. The man just keeps having the top matches on takeovers. Like, there's undeniably the most consistently entertaining wrestler in the short history of NXT, but it's still a history nonetheless. Definitely the best wrestler in WWE the past 5 years. I can't give it to anyone else other than Johnny Gargano, so that's why he gets 10 points. Chen, what do you make of Johnny Gargano?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with you because he is that damn good.
Like Triple H.
Like Ciampa, it was great that he went heel. He needed the character change, and he's been putting that off really, really well.
Yeah,
it's just one thing for some reason when I think Gargano now, I just think about that comment he made. Apparently, was it him? He keeps calling himself Mr. NXT. Like, he doesn't want to go to the main roster, does
he said it's his home and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, as much as NXT for life. But yeah, I don't blame guys though. Like, sure, you might have had that dream of going to WrestleMania, but if you're having like the time of your life in NXT, and
but you're stopping your potential. That's what.
No, I don't think so. Like, they're getting paid higher now because NXT's on USA, and they're happier. And,
they are getting main roster money. You're right.
Yeah, they're happier. You're more creatively fulfilled. We can go
in the wrestling world, don't you want to be bigger? Like, in WrestleMania,
it depends what you want.
I think this is something interesting that wrestling fans seem more than fans of any other form, is that if someone isn't making huge amounts of money, people think they're kind of worthless. It's strange how much stock people set in like wrestler salaries as to how good they are. You could still be like the best artist in the world and make enough to live comfortably and not be on the main roster. You know, especially as NXT continues to draw more.
But I'm just saying, as a brand, I think the Gargano brand could be much bigger. Like, like how WWE always looks for the John Cena, Roman Reigns. Gargano could have been one of them, but
yeah, I guess. I don't know, if I was in the WWE, I'd pick living in Florida and getting to do my best work in front of a crowd of incredibly passionate people over being on the road 300 days a year in front of a bunch of wankers. No offense to any Americans listening.
Or me.
Oh well, I mean, I was referring to the main roster wankers. I'm only saying that because the crowd at the Madison Square
Listen.
Garden show was so fucking bad.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. We're getting sidetracked, but yeah, Gargano,
Let's
great.
get to the results.
And we've got 2 more to go through. God damn it! This is why I'm trying to get through it. John Moxley, consistently been very good this year. Very entertaining. An absolute paradigm shift to the industry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. See what I did, but yeah, his stuff in New Japan, AEW, been stuff of great entertainment. But Chen, you didn't put him down in your top 10. Surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, to me, Ambrose has always just been doing what he does. It's
Moxley.
Sorry. Moxley's been doing what he does. Like I said, I've always expected this type of talent from him, but it's just that he was held back. But the problem with Moxley is the first thing I think of him is like him shitting on the WWE with his Talk Is Jericho podcast and everything like that. I just feel like he needs to still break away from that umbrella, like of that shadow. Like, oh yeah, I used to be part of the Shield.
I think he's done a great job.
Don't get me wrong, I loved his matches, but it's just
Yeah.
when I think of Moxley, I just think he needs to do more because I always think, oh,
Yeah.
Shield, WWE, him shitting on WWE, people asking questions about WWE.
Wow, Chen's turned into Steve Austin.
Oh yeah.
But
Their
you need to
second
do more.
podcast was
You need
good.
to do more.
Right.
You know, joking aside, I get your point. He still has that like WWE rub on him, which you know might put some people off. So fair enough. And last but not least, Will Ospreay. Sam, you came close to giving him the full 10.
Yeah, I think in terms of in-ring story, Will Ospreay is probably one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And then outside the ring, impact on the industry as well. He's put British indie wrestling on the map. He's like one of their top boys that didn't go and form NXT UK. Really, people who have never watched indie wrestling know who Will Ospreay is.
Yeah, Will Ospreay is fantastic. Do you think he is going to be one of the next big things in Japan, or is he going to be stuck at junior heavyweight?
I think no, he's not. I reckon him losing the belt to sorry, spoilers everyone. If you haven't seen Wrestle Kingdom 2020, I'm very sorry. But I've said it now. So yeah, him losing the belt to Takahashi at Wrestle Kingdom is kind of him passing on the torch. And actually, at New Year's Dash, they set up a match between him and Zack Sabre Jr. for the British heavyweight title, which is the Rev Pro belt. And he said he wants to push Rev Pro into like being a big company. That's where he's making his home now. So I reckon we're going to see Will Ospreay, heavyweight Will Ospreay, having some blinding matches just up the road from me in York Hall this year.
Yeah. Not with Josh Bodum, hopefully.
No, he's gone. Don't even mention that cunt's name. Sorry, I said that word.
Oh, you have to bleep that out now, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. God damn it.
Yeah, well, some might agree with the sentiment.
Most people would.
Yeah, battering a referee. What a you know what. The second time we mentioned the C-bomb on this podcast, I'm not pleased.
A scoundrel.
Yeah, at least at least someone called a murderer. A dirty diddler. We can't take that gimmick infringement. Anyway, let's stop being distracted and let's close out the show because Chen's getting anxious about the Manchester United result. Adam Cole finished 6th with 25 points. In fourth place, Will Ospreay with 26 points. In joint third is Johnny Gargano and John Moxley on 28 points. In second place is Cody with 30 points. And the overwhelming winner with 50 points is Bray Wyatt. Chen, you're the only person to give Bray Wyatt 10. Sam, you gave 10 to Cody. I gave 10 to Johnny Gargano. Jason gave 10 to Will Ospreay. Mike gave 10 to Adam Cole. And honorable mention, Chris gave 10 to Chris Jericho, who came close to being in the nominated list.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, you know, he did all that stuff this year.
Yeah, he did all that stuff this year, and I didn't even put Chris Jericho in the top 10. You know who I put in the top 10 over Chris Jericho? Tetsuya Naito.
Yes.
Who, I mean, great guy as he is. Probably a better 2020. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, only 22 men got nominated in that list. So we kind of all acquiesced around the same sort of guys. So yeah. Anyway, I think that was a terrific show, maybe a terrifically long show. So if you're still listening, listener, thank you very much for joining us on our special Big Dogs episode. Join us next year for next year's Big Dogs. But however,
We're
you
going
can
to do
also
podcast before then, yeah. It's
Sam?
not like this is... Sorry.
Sam, do not interrupt my outro.
Sorry. I just
Chad,
wanted
do you
make
want
it
to get in
clear.
and interrupt the outro?
No.
All right, good. Right, I'm going to wrap this up, Sam.
Sorry, you made it sound like we're just going to not do any shows for another...
But I was going to say, but next week. Anyway,
Okay.
so next week, we'll be discussing our top 10 matches of the decade, first of our I Love 2010 series that will be running throughout this year. Until next time, remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, give us a 5-star review where possible if you enjoy the show, and do not forget to subscribe. And that's the bottom line, because this pod said so. Mic drop.